curved piecing for quilting. As you come in, please hit the subscribe button. I'm about to show you a lot of things about curved piecing for quilting. Okay, subscribe. Alright, we're just getting ready to get started on curved piecing for quilting. Just trying to see how we're looking. I'm looking on my laptop. Okay, we look good. Alright, today, as I stated, we're going to do curved piecing for quilting. Okay, I wanted to show y'all some. So let me get this other template while we allow people time to come in to the chat. We're doing curved piecing for quilting. I wanted to show y'all this other template. There we go. So today we're doing curved piecing for quilting. I had to go get this other template. So the template here is what you call the drunkard's path. And it only has one curved, let me take this out of the way. It only has one curved seam. So this is the one piece of the template and this is the second piece. Okay. So when I took my first quilting class, which was a hand quilting class 20 years ago, this was one of the things they taught us in the class was how to do the drunkard's path quilt block. So we didn't have this template here. What we did was take some clear, like a plastic, that template plastic, and cut it out on the plastic. So we didn't have like a ruler template. We just had like a flimsy piece of plastic. Wasn't necessarily flimsy, but we just drew this out on the plastic, the template plastic, and cut it out. But we had to have two. So you would have to have these two pieces for the block, and then you would have to have the two more pieces to do the seam. So we had 4 pieces in all. Okay, but when you go to like this here, it only sent me this. So if you're faced with this dilemma or this issue or this problem, you would have to take these pieces and do a template. So this is the drunkard's path quilt block. These 2 pieces, you would sew them together and end up with the drunkard's path quilt block. And I did recently do a live, on the drunkard's path quilt block, or videos or whatever. So check those out. But this is not what we're working with today. What we're working with today is the apple quilt block. So you wouldn't start. So this is the drunkard's path quilt block. You're only dealing with one curved seam. You wouldn't start with this one. You would start with this one. You wouldn't start with the apple quilt block because it's too much work if you hadn't started with the drunkard's path. So then this is the apple quilt block. And see, it has 4 curved sides. So you would be dealing with 4 curved seams. So that's why it's best to start here where you dealing with one curved seam. So once you master this one curved seam, master it, then you would move on to here. You will move on to this block. Okay, so this apple core block is what we're going to be working with today. Um, so what I've done, so I have this piece. So what I have to do at this point is do the um, piece for the seam, to do this, to mark the seam line on the apple core pieces. So in my last video, in not the last video, but the video entitled Drunkard's Path, Quilt Blocks to Squares and More, is where I took this template and cut out these little apple core pieces. So if you're interested, then you will need to go and watch that video so that you'll know how I went about cutting out the pieces and what I used to cut out the pieces. So this is, and then we have this, and then we have this, which I've already. So this is what we're working with today. So then when you're going to cut out the pieces for your apple core quilt blocks, you cut them out in the way they're going to lay in the quilt. So for this piece, I will cut it up and down because that's the top. Okay. This piece is going side to side, so I will lay the apple core like that on the fabric and cut it. For this piece, I will lay the apple core block up and down like this and cut it. So I wouldn't cut this piece in this position, and I wouldn't cut this piece in this position. So that's how you would do that. But first I got to cut a piece out on this cardstock so I can have a piece for the seam, because they don't send you that. They only send you the piece for the finished block. So I guess you're supposed to figure out the rest yourself, I'm assuming. Because like I said, when I started, we had 4 pieces. Or whatever. We had a piece for the block and a piece to mark the seam. But when you order it, and you don't have to order it, you can print off a template from offline and cut it on anything from a paper plate to a piece of, I would recommend card. So I even thought about using poster board. So I'm not sure that paper plate. Now, I don't know about, I don't think it's strong enough for a template, but I mean, those are some of the options. So are you going to use the cardstock to cut it on? Are you going to use paper plates? Are you going to use poster board? Are you going to use cardboard? So you don't have to buy these templates. You can print them offline Like if you find something printable offline, then you can just print it off and then take what you printed and cut it off. Use that to cut it off on a cardstock or paper plate or however you want to do it. But you will have to, especially if you quilting by hand. Now, if you machine quilting, then you don't necessarily have to cut out a template piece. But if you're doing it by hand, like I'm about to do here, you're definitely gonna need this piece for the seam to mark the seam. But if you're doing regular quilting, if you're quilting on a machine, you would just put your 1/4 foot on, and then this edge would just run along the edge of the quarter foot, 1/4 inch foot. So then I would take this and cut it. Hi, I'm making a patchwork pot holder using the apple core quilt block. So this is the what you call the apple core quilt block, and this is the Drunkard's Path quilt block. So today I'm working with the apple core quilt block, but I was just letting you all know that you start off with this one curved seam before you move on to the apple core quilt block. Because if you try to start off on the apple core quilt block, then you're going to get intimidated because you're going to get frustrated by all those curved seams. So once you master Drunkard's Path quilt block, move on to, then at that point you will move on to the apple core quilt block. So I'm just about to show you all how I will go about sewing these apple core pieces together. But first I'm just showing you all how to do how you would have to go about cutting a piece for the seam. So I'm gonna cut this out. Then I'm gonna mark the seam line. I'll show you all, so especially so you know, it's like when I started quilting 22 years ago, I started off by hand, and then someone gave me a sewing machine, and I could do it so fast. Because you know, when you went quilting, you want to make something for everybody, or you just want to make a lot of stuff. So once they gave me that by hand, once they gave me that machine, I really didn't do too much by hand, but I know how to do it by hand. But I have a machine. But now I want to start back doing stuff by hand. So you know, but that's how I started off. But I'm glad I started off by hand because I can do it both ways. Like I can just effortlessly move from hand to machine, you know, to hand with no problem, because that's how I first started, was by hand. Okay, so now what we're doing is cutting this out so that we can do it for the seam. So I'll show you all how to mark the seam on this template, the seam line, and you got to cut that out too. So then I would take this ruler here and kind of go around the edge. I'm gonna have to go around 2 of these edges. You know, one for one kind of side and one for the other kind of side. Like I only have to mark this one, and then I could just rotate it. I don't have to mark the I don't have to mark all four sides. I just have to mark each type of side. You know, one's the concave side, one's the convex side. So if you know about all that, and don't ask me which one is which. I would think this is the concave side because kind of it's cave, like cave in. So maybe this is the concave side, this is the convex side, I would think. Now you can just check it behind me because that's no guarantee. That's just my rationalization as in concave, as in cave in. So, yeah, I'm doing this for patchwork pot holder I'm making for Valentine's Day. So I went on and cut out the I went ahead and cut out, see that's how that looks now that I've marked the side, you know, mark that. So now I got to do this other side. I just lay the 1/4 inch line and mark it. And then move a little bit and lay the 1/4 inch line down and mark. And again. And then just keep on marking. And lay it down. A little 1/4 inch line on mark. So you move and mark, move the ruler and mark. Put that 1/4 inch line on the edge. See, I'm used to doing this because when I start off by hand, that's what you have to do. You don't have a 1/4 inch foot, so you have to mark each side for the 1/4 inch seam line. So that you can make sure that you're sewing it properly. You will have to mark each individual piece because you don't have that 1/4 inch ruling. You wouldn't guess on it. So that's kind of how it looks. So now what I would do is cut this line and then cut this line. And then that's our piece for our, that's how you have to do it for your seam. And I cut this one. Then once you mark this, cut this piece, then you mark your pieces. So now, flip it over. And you would lay, put this on the edge, and on the edge. Let's do that's how you would mark your seam. And you would go to mark it. Mark the part. Or I know the edge where I cut for the seam. Okay. And now turn it around. And lay it down. For some reason that don't look like no 1/4 inch. I'm gonna have to do that again. So let's do this like this. Hmm. I don't like the way. I'm okay with this side, but this side I ain't okay with. So we don't have to just use the ruler then. You don't even really have to. You don't have to create a template, I guess, but you would need to. You would need a template, but for some reason, this concave side is not looking like a 1/4 inch. So now I gotta take the ruler and 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 cause it ain't no 1/4 inch line for some reason. So then you have to, don't look right, then you have to just do it with the, so you don't have to have, now you see you don't have to have a template, you can just mark the ruler, use the ruler to mark on the back of the fabric if you don't wanna. So maybe that's what the quilt shops are assuming, that you going to that you're going to take the ruler and mark the piece like you normally have to do as a hand quilt, because that wasn't looking like no 1/4 inch, so I have to do it with this. And it's okay, you know, at least I'm showing you, because once you do something so long, you know, okay, that's not a 1/4 inch, so what are we gonna do? Now see, that's a 1/4 inch, that's what I'm saying, this other side, it kinda came up short right there too, you know them. You know the 1/4 inch, once you get to quilting so long, see, that's a 1/4 inch, even over there, that's not no 1/4 inch, so I had to mark it. just have to mark it. It's got to be a 1/4 inch. I mean, can't not be a 1/4 inch because it's not going to work. And the same way you're a machine quilter, the same way I'm putting this seam, this 1/4 inch line on the edge is that's how this curved piece should run along the edge of that 1/4 inch presser foot. It shouldn't go outside that edge, but you know what, I noticed that the feed dogs kind of help you with the curve. Like it helps you to to um for the curve to curve around. The feed dogs help to curve the curve. That's how I have to say that. Yeah, so you just put this 1/4 inch line and move it. Mark and move, mark and move. Because I don't know, for some reason that template didn't look good. It didn't come out on the side. It didn't come out to be no 1/4 inch. So I have to go back. That's what I'm saying. I can just move right to doing this because this is how I started off. Doing it by this is how I have to. If you hand quilting, you have to mark each one of that 1/4 inch line on each piece. You got to be able to see it. But just dark enough for you to be able to see it, but not too dark. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this how I marked the first piece. So now yeah, might as well you again. Because the template is getting on my nerves. But if it comes out to be the right size seam, I mean, it's okay, but that ain't looking right on some side, it look right. And then on another side, I'm like, that ain't no 1/4 inch, so I just want to use this ruler. You just put the 1/4 inch line on the edge and mark all the way around on each piece. Luckily today, we only doing 4 pieces. So you don't need to mark, you don't have to do the template. But you can do the template, but maybe do a template for each side. Do one template for the concave side and one template for the convex side and see if that works. Because I tried to do one template for both sides and then some kind of way the seam wasn't a 1/4 inch. See, now I did that. That easily looks like a 1/4 inch seam with no seam line with no problem. So we will have to mark it with this. And that's what it's going to be. And so at least we know we have the right size is an actual 1/4 inch seam. All right. And just do a little bit and move a little bit. Alright, so that looks like a 1/4 inch seam line. So, guess you can save your time with a template and just, I mean, you can try a template. And if it's, like I said, do one, I guess, for each kind of side. Because what I just did, it didn't work. So I can just go to what I was originally taught. Just put the 1/4 inch side, 1/4 inch seam, 1/4 inch line on this ruler on the edge and mark and move. Mark and move, mark and move. That's what you're doing. But if you can get a template to work for you, that's an option. If the template comes up short, you gotta go back to the old-fashioned way, like I'm doing now. But like I said, I'm used to this because I started off doing it by hand. So, I guess it's best to diversify your quilting portfolio so that you can have options. If one way don't work, move right on over to the other. So, you hand quilting, you mark your seam line on your pieces before you go to sew them together. Now this one looks absolutely perfect. So that's no problem. And we'll do the next piece. And now we're going to mark this piece. So we've got this piece and one more other piece. Alright. So you know how to mark curved pieces. You can say you learned that in this video. I hope some people are watching my videos and learning stuff and then going and do it. Like putting it to use. I hope so. Now if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe. And if you want more detailed information, just go and watch some of my live videos. Because I make live videos, I make long form videos, I make shorts. But if you really want to learn quilting, then live videos are the way to go. So you can learn something. I bet you some of these folks charging y'all to teach y'all what I'm teaching y'all here. You ain't even paying. So it ain't all about the money. I just want people to go and be quilting. I don't want quilting to die out. I want it to keep going. So somebody taught me, so now I teach y'all. So now you don't have to make a template. You can just do what I'm doing here. Mark it. And like I said, if you're doing it by hand, by machine, you're not gonna need a template because the 1/4 inch foot gonna take care of everything. It's gonna take care of the seam, so you ain't got to worry about that. But if you by hand, then you either gonna need a template or to mark every piece. So I'm just marking the piece. Make sure you like the video. Thanks to everybody coming in the chat. Hi everyone. I promised y'all I was going to do this today, so here I am. I did a live last night on hand quilting. It was a good video, so I'm trying to get back into where I originally started with hand quilting. So we'll see how that comes out. I have to build that skill back up, so I'm looking forward to that. From where I am now and where I'm going to be maybe in a few months or so once I continue to do it. What's going on right here? You kind of go along with the curve. Just lay that 1/4 inch line on that edge and mark. And like I said, I've been into quilting 22 years, so I can just come on YouTube and teach y'all some of everything with no problem. Just be like, okay, show me how to do that. Okay, now show me how to do that. Now I'm trying to also get into hand applique, which I've done hand applique like one time, and it was just like, do it. So I had no choice but to do it. But as I was doing it, I'm like, I'm doing hand applique. Like on this little, back of this little, if you can see it, this was hand applique. And that's the hand applique experience I have. So I'm about to be doing some of that. Because I especially want to do something with it for Valentine's Day. So that's something And then if you feel like it's not curvy enough, you need to just go back and make sure you can see the curve. Okay, so now we got that one in order. Now we'll mark this one. I'm just marking the seam line. But like I said, if you're doing it by machine, you don't have to do all this. That's one good thing about doing things by machine. Saves a lot of time, but I mean hand quilting. It's just something about that hand quilting stitch that the machine just don't have anything on. It's nothing like a hand quilted stitch on a quilt. It's just nothing that compares. So that's why I want to get back into doing things, doing the quilting by hand. So I'm excited about it. And then when you doing this, make sure you're marking right above the 1/4 inch line that you're using, and mark above that so that you're going with the curve. So you're not making a long line, it's just a short line right above the 1/4 inch line that you're using as a guide that you run along the edge so that it curves like it's supposed to. So we're almost through marking. Then we'll be able to start sewing. And then we're going to see what we end up with. And once I get these 4 pieces sewn together, then I will have the quilt top for my patchwork pot holder for Valentine's Day. So I'll just sew this quilt top together, have it stored away while I finish my Christmas stuff, and then I will come back to this. But the thing about it, I'm not gonna do a lot of small items for Valentine's Day because I'm doing a quilt for Valentine's Day. I've been wanting a Valentine quilt for a long time. So this time I will have me a quilt for Valentine's Day. Lots of heart, lots of love going on. So we're excited about that. So that looks pretty good. You can see that came out to be pretty good. Let's see. Thing. See, you can see the line really good. Now we have to sew the pieces together. Okay, I don't know. So this is that. This is that. these two pieces. Okay. I don't know why this line is like this. Um, but this is the one I fold. You fold it in half. Do a little press, finger press, press. And this one, fold it in half. So this up and down piece, fold right sides together. And press, finger press. And then once you get your quilt top sewn, you can kind of iron the folds out. But don't, I don't know what my iron is doing, but now I use what they call a press cloth with just 100% cotton t-shirt. Um, and I lay the cotton t-shirt on top of my pieces. Then I iron because my iron started doing something crazy. So I have to make sure. So then you just line the little, put the little folds together and pin. And then you put a pin right there. I wonder, I know these pins I had, let's see if they fine. Ooh, that one too big. If it don't go in, you get these, I have glass head pins, but you have to get them fine because if they don't easily glide into it, this is why I got these separated out. These not. I have another set of pins over here. See these two. If it doesn't slide in like silk, like that one went right in, it's too big around. So that's why in quilting you use you use you use some people say they only put 3 pins on the side. I do the middle side, then I go in and pin the rest. But I definitely use a lot of seams. I just did a video showing where I did a lot of seams in that Drunken's Path quilt block. So then I just do side, middle side, and then I go back and kind of pin the rest of it together. I definitely use a lot of pins. I'm not one person that doesn't use a lot of pins. Like use very few pins. That's not me. I use a whole lot of pins, especially with these curved pieces. So you kind of have to help it because you want that little edge to the edge to line up. And I go and pin in the middle of the 2 pins. some of these pins are bent because I be using them for my banding strip. Trying to get some that's not bent. Then I said I was gonna go through my pins and separate the bent ones from the ones that's still straight. Cause when I'm doing this, I don't want to be dealing with a pin that's bent. But when I use the pins instead of the binding clips to put on the strip and all that, I be coming up with bent pins. So if you're doing this correctly, if it's right, when you stick the needle through the 1/4 inch line, it should come out on the 1/4 inch line on the other side, so y'all can see that. So seems to be coming out, so that's a good thing. That means that that line, it came out pretty good. See, you stick it through. Okay, now we're gonna work with this side. And even if I was doing this by machine, I would still have all these pins in here. Today I'm doing it by hand, but I still, and then when you working with curves, don't try to go all fast, go slow and steady. Needles already threaded because I have a lot of stuff that I'm working on. I just went and threaded a lot of needles, and I tell you one thing, that needle thread has became my best friend. Cause I tell you one thing, I rather have it than not have it. For years I really ain't been using no needle threads, but here lately I've been in love with the needle thread. I ain't gonna lie. You just do your little hand sewing. And this is hand quilting thread, but it doesn't have that glaze finish on it. But it did specifically say that it was hand quilting thread, so I just doubled it up, you know, working with 2 strands versus 1 strand since it doesn't have that glazed finish on it. And then I was looking for what I wanted to hand piece was the a number 12 between, and I ain't really seeing them in a lot of places. So I just get a pack of quilting needles. It said quilting needles. That's what the package said. And use a short one, because the shorter the needle, the shorter the stitch. Because you don't want big stitches. Because you want your little seam to be sturdy. So you don't want to be working with too big of your stitches too far apart, because when you're doing it by hand, because you want it sturdy, a sturdy seam. You just sew along the seam line at this point. So that's far. So far, that's how it's looking. Let's see if y'all can see it. So that's what we're doing. Curved piecing for quilting. And you just sew right along that line that you drew. So we're just going right along the line. You want the stitches to be as short as they can be, but it takes practice to get them, you know, close together like they like, you know. But you just do it in your own time. So that's what you do. You do it in your own time. That's what you're doing. Not in their time, in your time. Because whatever this end up being is going to be a quilt top for a patchwork pot holder. I don't know, for some reason I'm just at a point where I want something with hearts. So that's what I'm wanting, something with heart. And Valentine's Day, that's a good day to do something with hearts. So that's what we're doing. And then when you see now, I'm just going to, I'm at this edge, so I'm gonna take a little back stitch too. I'm gonna go all the way to the edge and then go back. Can I turn it this way and do a few back stitches? Yeah, I'm gonna do one more back stitch. Cut this string. Cut this thread, put a quilter's knot in here. Now I'm done. And I can just cut that. I did me a little back stitch. And I'm going to do my little quilter's knot where you just lay it on there. Go around, push it through. put your little finger in there so it don't get tangled up, because sometimes it be trying to get tangled up. So we got our first little thing. And then I just finger press. Now normally you do this on iron, but for YouTube purposes, I'm just going to just finger press towards the dark fabric. That's the rule. So we're just gonna finger press. You don't want to do too much of this because you're working with a biased pieces, so you definitely don't want to stretch it. And if you're ironing, I normally say iron side to side, but for these curved pieces, I would just, and I've started to do it with my other pieces too. Just lay it down for a few seconds and move the iron. I don't know what you call it when you don't iron. Like if you're ironing quilting, you either going side to side or up and down. You're not going side to side and up and down. But with this curved piece, I would just lay it down and do it. Lay it down and do it in, one direction or whatever. And so you don't stretch it out of shape, because they will stretch out of shape, and then you sew your rows together and one is longer than the other row because you don't went and stretch the pieces. So now the edges don't even line up because you didn't stretch the pieces out. I say, but that's the first two pieces. It look pretty good. Let me see. I was looking on the phone. So that's how the first two pieces came together. That's pretty good. So now we'll go and sew the next two pieces together, which is this one and this one. Okay, so we're going to fold this one right sides together. And then just finger press. Okay. And then this one, fold wrong sides together. Okay. And then take them and line up the little center pieces, the little center points that you just created with the fold and pin. Okay, then I will go and do that. And pin. The pin is crooked. I want to use the crooked one. That one will pass. I'm going to use this one. And pin. And then go to the other side. Line up that edge, those two edges, and pin. Then go in the middle area just line it up. Get your little pins. Then I got these pins from Joanne. So, but you know what? I had bought them and then seemed like I bought one pack. It was fine. And I bought the same, supposed to be in the same pack of pens, the blue head glass pens, and they wasn't fine. Like, I'm like, how if it's the same thing, how did they get more rounder? Like, it wasn't as fine. So I don't know how they did that, but I'm like, hold up, now I bought the first pack, it was super fine. Like, they call them fine glass head pens. That means they're gonna just go, they're real thin pins and they're gonna just glide in and out the fabric like silk. If you push it through and it doesn't go straight in, that means it's too big around, it's too big in diameter. So I didn't ever figure out how they did that though, because I'm like, the first pens was okay. And the second, which I still use them, but I'm just saying I can tell the difference between those two pack of the same pens, glass head pens. I'm like, what in the world? That was crazy. I thought that was so great. I'm like, how they do that? But maybe that's how they just decided to do it. So, like this one is a little rounder in diameter, but it still goes in pretty good, but not good as the other one. So, but some people be like, girl, it's not that big of a deal. Just pen and sew and don't be saying all that. But I'm just saying, I ain't crazy. I know. Like that one was found in the one I just used. So you can kind of tell. See, this is a good find. It's just going right in with no problem. That's what you want. Them super fine, extra fine glass head pen. And even sometimes if you get two packs, two different brands, and it said glass head, I guarantee you one of them is going to be more rounded than the other one. It's not going to be like, it's going to be a difference. So you just have to go out there and see until you find one that you're like, oh, these are really fun. This is the one I want to stick with. But once you buy them, you don't have to keep buying them. Like I done had these pens for a few years, so I have so many of them. I don't have to, keep getting glass head pens. But I do need to separate the bent ones from the ones that's not bent. So I said I was gonna take this pen cushion and separate them out. And there's so many of them, it's gonna take forever, but maybe I'll do a little bit at a time. See now. Alright, so now I'm going to pin. Now I'm going to sew. Came right on back out, didn't it? And then we just sew pieces together along that line that I drew. And that's what we're doing. It's just called hand piecing. So you have machine piecing, then you have hand piecing. So we're hand piecing these curved pieces. And this is curved piecing for quilting. And when I started, baby, you give me that number 12. Between needles, babe, I was doing something when I first started. You can tell me nothing. Babe, I was hand piecing, hand piecing, hand piecing. I mastered that. It didn't take no time because that's what I was doing. I had no job. I was just doing my little hand quilting. I wasn't worried about nothing in the world. And wasn't worried about no job. I was just into my quilt. Babe, I had mastered that and it's nothing like a hand quilted stitch. Now I stand by that. I do. And the machine, they try to do it, give you that hand quilt, hand stitched look, but if you want a hand stitched look, you gotta do it by hand. But some people do it, some don't. You do what's best for you. Cause I'm gonna keep doing it both ways. Like I do some way. I ain't giving up neither one. I'm not giving up the hand, and I'm not giving up my machine. I do it both ways. And that way, you can do some things. You can do more things, more ways. And I'm glad I started off by hand, cause it's like you start off by hand, and then you move to machine. Cause if you start out by machine, you're used to doing it so fast, you may not want to move over to doing it by hand, cause doing it by hand is much slower. But it's more relaxing, and you're not in nobody's hurry. That's what we are these days. We in too big of a hurry. So yeah. I'm just doing my curved piecing for quilt. And now when I get this, ooh, I'm stuck myself. When I get this, then I can sew the two rows together. Then I'll be done with this video. I've been doing quite a few videos lately, and people have really been subscribing. I'm really liking it, and so thankful for that. Thankful to all my subscribers, and thankful to my new subscribers. So people must really like what I'm doing. I'm just gonna keep on doing it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep on doing what I'm doing because they just keep subscribing and subscribing. So evidently I must be doing something right. Because that's when they subscribe, when you do something right. So I'm going to keep on doing it. I ain't going to stop. So I've been, like I said, this is my 22nd year into quilting. So I ain't going to be on here like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to make sure you can tell that them 22 years show. I did not learn how to quilt on YouTube. I was already quilting before YouTube. But, it's no frown upon it, but you got to also venture out because sometimes people don't say everything that you need to hear because they may not know it themselves. So it's best to always learn, not only from YouTube, but get books from the libraries, lots of helpful books in the library. That was my thing when I first started. I took a class and I also used to go to the library and check out books, and I also recently checked out some books from the library. So make sure y'all making use of the quilting books at your local library because you can learn stuff that way too. I'm just doing the back stitch. Then I'm finna cut this thread. I could have turned it around, but I didn't want to do it that time. So then we're just gonna cut this and open this up and see what we got. And thanks to everybody that's watching my videos and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate that. So we got this one done. Let's get out of the 3. So this one is gonna go this way in the quilt top. So then I just finger press and straighten it out. I'm gonna straighten this seam out. Then finger press. Then we gotta go and sew the rows together. And you gotta press towards the darker fabric because you don't want the seam to show through the lighter fabric. It's like some type of shadow or something. So you just press with the darker fabric. Okay, so then we bring this piece in. And you kind of nest. Hold on. Okay. So now I'm trying to fold it over and then nest the seams together. And then pin. And then maybe we'll do that like we were doing, pinning the edge. Pin the edge. Now normally I would have pressed this with an iron, but for YouTube purposes I ain't finna set no iron board up and do all that. I'm just gonna sew it together. I finger pressed. It's gonna have to settle for today. Okay, then you get this edge and put that right there. Okay, and then you'll just go to just pin your row together. I'm gonna use some pins on this, but I ain't using no lot of pins. Just enough to pin it together, pin the row together. And then once I get this done, I have the quilt top done for my my little pot holder for Valentine's Day. edges together and pin. Might have to pull it up to the edge and then pin. And then just put the edges together and pin. And then just keep going. And then just keep it going. Put the edges together and pin. Okay, and then put that edge together and pin. And then we got our row sewn together. Now all I gotta do is just sew these two rows together. And so now I'm just gonna sew these two rows together. Just pin, sewing the rows together. Now we done did all the other work, so now we just gotta sew the rows together. Just sewing the rows together. And just keep sewing, keep sewing. Right along the line that you drew. That's your seam line. So you just going up and down the line. Just keep going up and down that line. Here. Just doing our curved piecing for quilting. This is a sign. I have my thimble on, so right here I'm just going to do one stitch at a time. I'm trying to hurt myself. This is a seam right here. Slow motion right here. I'm trying to hurt myself. We got past this. I just this pin out. Oh, halfway there, y'all. Halfway. Just one hour roll together for our curved piecing for quilting. Now you know how to mark the pieces, sew the pieces, and if you want to know how to cut the pieces, then go to my video, my live video entitled Drunkard's Pad Quilt Blocks to Squares and More. And in that video, I showed you how to cut the curved pieces, the apple core quilt blocks, which this is what I'm working on here. Oh, at the end, got to be finished up. And we're going to work our way back with a few back stitches. I love doing stuff by hand, as you can see. I started off by hand, like I said 1,000 times. So I can do something by hand. I might not be doing on an everyday basis, but I ain't forget, I tell you that much. But that's why I can go from machine to hand to machine with no problem. Because I was first taught on machine. And then I was first taught by hand. And I was given a machine. And that's when I started by doing stuff by machine. And it was so fast. I was like, woo! I'll never go back to hand. And here I am back to hand. So, you know what they said, never say never. So we done sewing these rows together of our apple core quilt blocks for our upcoming patchwork pot holder for Valentine's Day. So now I can just put this to the side. Now I can just put this to the side and till I get my Christmas stuff done and come back to this, but it came out pretty good, as you can see. I just sit here and did all this by hand. All of this I just did by hand, just right here on this beautiful Sunday morning. Told y'all I was gonna do some curved piecing, so at least y'all know how to do curved piecing now. And just this looks really good too. Now all I gotta do is when I get ready to come by this, just put a little press cloth on top like a old 100% cotton t-shirt and just lay the iron down. Don't do all this because you're working with the bias. You don't want to stretch it. So lay the iron down, move. Lay the iron down, a few seconds, move. Lay the iron down, you know, like that. Don't stretch these pieces. Just do it like that. And look at that seam, how that seam lined up perfectly. So that's what I do. I pin my seams, my seams together, nest my seams together, then I pin out that way. So that's what I do. So this is how the quilt top for my apple core quilt top, because we have our apple core block. This is it. This is the template that I use for this apple core quilt block. It's gonna be a pretty little pothole. I already know how I'm quilting. You have to come back later for that. And that's really gonna be cute, baby. That's really gonna be cute, baby. It's gonna, once I put that quilting, sew it together, quilts together, it's gonna be so cute. This side, which thread color I'm gonna use. Hopefully one I already got. Hopefully what I got matches. If not, I have to get some that matches. But oh, the quilting is really gonna set it off. That's what I'm saying. I'm on YouTube taking my stuff to the next level. Y'all best to be subscribed to my channel, because when you do, you should definitely know how to quilt. Know how to do some quilting. Because I do my live and I teach it step by step. And I ain't talking fast. But baby, I am so proud of this little quilt top. What do you think? Is it cute to you? This, I've had this right here about, at least probably about 2 years. This was my favorite print. I had bought I think it was a bundle of half yards. And then this was my favorite print. So I went and got like 3 yards of this. Yeah. So yeah, this is my quilt top for my upcoming patchwork pot holder for Valentine. So this is something I'll be working on as soon as I get my little Christmas stuff all done. I'm gonna come right to this, and then I'm going to do my start on my quilt. So I'll be making me a quilt for Valentine's. So I'm excited about that. So I have lots of upcoming things planned. I have Christmas stuff to complete. Once I get I have lots of stuff planned. Once I get my Christmas stuff done, I'll come back to Valentine's stuff. So make sure you all watch my videos, my long form videos, my live streams, so that you can learn a lot about quilting. Stay tuned to my channel so that you can see all the stuff that I'm doing for this upcoming Christmas season or upcoming holiday season. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel. Go and watch some of all my videos. I really appreciate you all. I'm thankful for all my subscribers. And stay tuned, okay? I may come back next week with some more lives. That'll probably be my thing to be doing. Lives on Saturday and Sunday mornings, you know. But if I need some rest, I may miss a few. So we'll see. Just check in, check back and watch. Thank you all. Subscribe. Check you later. Subscribe. Check you later.